Welcome back to KLIK CHAT number 3. Here with Paulina from Shopkeeper, Tobias and Kristina from Sermondo. We are talking about different things which entrepreneurs are facing and Amazon sellers are facing in their life. And today we are talking about life because we want to chat a little bit about life-work balance, or maybe better, life-work harmony.
I think that's a pretty interesting topic because a lot of entrepreneurs, and I know that a lot of Amazon sellers say it's their side hustle or they're just trying to start out, but they're also entrepreneurs. If you're doing Amazon FBA, you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to build a business. And I read a lot about that. Most of them are having troubles managing maybe their current job, their Amazon FBA business, and their family and their friends, because a day only has 24 hours. How do you manage to balance all that, guys?
Yeah, there's so much to it that comes into that component of balancing everything. So it doesn't just come right away from the first day. It takes work and figuring out what works. You test something a little bit. You spend here more time working, and then you feel like, I go by the feeling of guilt most of the time. If I'm working a lot and I start feeling guilty that, I didn't go pick up my kids, I asked my husband to pick up my kids. As soon as the guilt comes in, that's the indicator to me that I should fix my work-life balance on that point, right? So, and then I work again and just go by that little bit of feeling. And eventually you get to work out a system, sort of like I did. On Saturdays, we spend with my husband all day, and kids are usually with the grandma or just doing activities and so on. And on Sunday, we spend the whole family together. And then on the evenings, every evening from 6 p.m., I'm basically with the family together, all of us. So every evening, there are a few exceptions where I'm taking United States calls in the evenings. So maybe 1 or 2 times a week, I do take that exception, and then grandparents replace me at home. But in general, once you work that system that works for you, then you just roll with it. And then there is no more that guilt, because, for example, if I feel more guilty on a Friday, it's been a long week and, I'm just working. I feel like tomorrow is a Saturday and we will spend all day, the 12 hours together with my husband, and then it's going to be all good, So I know it's like you feel the balance will be still there at the end of the week. That's what I do in my life. What about you guys?
I guess it's such a complicated and important topic that I don't even know where to start with, and I'm definitely not a great example. Now I'm 25 years old, and I guess for the last 5 years I've been working quite a lot compared to other people who focused on their studies, for example, or who started to work at a 9 to 5. I think for me the main difference is that first you cannot really, especially when you're starting out, you cannot really separate. At least that didn't work out for me. What's work and what's like private life or something. So I kind of ended up working 7 times a week, even on a Sunday or during the night. But that's like the time that you're sitting on the desk and working on something is not the only time that you're working, because even if you're not working, even if you're like in the holiday or something, I guess many entrepreneurs can relate to this, that you cannot stop thinking about opportunities. So even though you're not sitting on the desk, you're still busy thinking. So it's really, really hard to get out of it. But like the older I get and the more experience I get with this, the more I feel that it's very, very important to really have a routine and to be disciplined and to have times where you really try to relax and to like calm down. I think that's why things like meditation are so popular, are getting so popular at the moment in the entrepreneurial space, because people are feeling the urge that they need to like have some time to relax. And I'm really working hard on this. For me, it's really hard to relax, especially if I'm working late. It's hard to like calm down and then get good sleep. So I'm still like struggling with this, but I see that it's also very hard especially if you're starting out. You cannot just say you will work 5 hours a day or 6 hours a day or something. It will just happen that you will go on and think about everything. But what I also feel is that you cannot really do this for a long period of time. So example, if you're really working really hard and really doing a lot, you can only do this for a certain amount of time, and then you need some time to relax. So you will eventually get burned out, and then your body will tell you that you need some time off. And that's what happened to me very often. So I didn't plan to take a time off, but my body told me, and then I got sick or something. I got a cold or something at least. So that was what my body told me. I need to have, like, my body forced me to rest because I didn't do it. So now really say, like, throughout the all time, it's really important to not burn out, because then you will be more like consistent, and then you will also be more efficient.
Do you have a certain schedule? Do you take a day off or two?
Yes, so at the moment I take my whole Sunday off. That's the only day where I do not touch anything. And what I also wanted to share is, through consulting many people, I also got in touch with many people, and I also like got my own impression what's the difference between the people, at least that would be my definition of successful people, and the people who aren't that successful. And I don't measure it through income or revenue or something. I measure it through how they can manage to like still live a healthy and happy life and have time for their family and still do sports, etc. Because I saw many people who, for example, who never take holidays, who never take a day off, who work 7 times a week for years. And I always see that these people also have are struggling with their like personal relationships, or they are like struggling to stick to a healthy life. So that would be my definition of a successful entrepreneur, that's someone who can still manage to find the time to take care of himself.
Hello, here unsuccessful entrepreneur is talking. I don't have any kind of this balance, I would say. So everything is happening usually at home, and I have a wife and a son. The son is 7 years old, and we chose to practice unschooling, which means our child is always at home. We don't give to any kind of governmental or non-governmental educational houses, or how to say, places. So that means when you have a child 24 hours with you, even if, let's say, my wife could take care of him, it takes a lot of energy. You need to rest from that. So I have to also find a balance to take care of my child, and of course to do all the daily things for like shopping and everything for the family. And this can be done for me only during the day. So very often I end up that I'm most productive when my family goes to sleep at 8, 9, I start working, and then I sit until like 3 a.m. And if I have a chance to work during the day, especially if it's happening in the same house where have family, then it's very difficult to concentrate. And recently I do practice that I can find some co-working or something, but we also recently moved quite a lot, visiting different places and family members. So it's very difficult to find that balance. It
was always a mystery to see how Augustas can get stuff done, because I see he's doing a lot. And for me, it wouldn't work out, because I see he's traveling a lot and he's working on several different projects. So my question to you, Augustas, would be like, how can you manage to, or how can you ensure to get things done? Do you block time then eventually like traveling, or how can you like make sure that you will have enough time?
So basically, well, when we travel, of course, you cannot work, but then we arrive and then we stay for sometimes few days or sometimes maybe a few weeks in one place. So there we try to get into rhythm. With my wife, we have a very big experience in traveling in the past. So we know this kind of moving and we are used to unpacking and packing things. Just now it's in the scale of the car. It's a car full of stuff and we have to unpack and then pack again in 5 days, let's say. It's very tiring, but in between we kind of try to get used to the new place. And maybe now you see this wall, you think it's I'm in the same place, but actually it's like it's, you know, it's a simple backdrop which I connected, that I look that I am staying in the same place and I just carry with me. But basically I don't have much structure in my day. There is, of course, if we plan some activities together with the family, I block those hours for that. but whenever I see opportunity, I jump to the computer and I want to work and work and work. And thank you for saying that. It looks like I do a lot of things and I make things done. I appreciate that. I see.
For example, I see you're traveling and really already doing a lot, and then I see you're still managing to send these nice newsletters. So I'm really asking myself, like, what did he write it on the plane, or where did he do it? So
yeah, I love those newsletters too, very much. The newsletters are awesome. There's like 3 different videos. There's some tips, some like, I don't know how you manage. It's like, it seems like so much effort, and the writing takes a lot of effort to sit down and think about it and give value and be interesting.
What I wanted to ask you, Augustas, would you love to have more structure, or did you accept, or do you even like it as it is now?
I have a feeling it's very difficult to have in my life a structure during the day, just because I'm not, if I would be alone, it would be possible. But when I have to also share this time, and my wife also wants to do her own thing. So during the day, it's very difficult for me to plan anything. Of course, when I have like recordings of videos, video calls, then it's blocked in a family calendar and we synchronize. But and even when I arrange some kind of co-working space or some external place to go and sit and work, sometimes I'm thinking, okay, now I can go to that place for 3 hours, but it will take me 1 hour to walk or drive to that place. Then maybe I just work 4 hours at home. So sometimes I'm thinking like this, but even though probably it's a wrong thinking, because if you disconnect for 3 hours, you might be probably more productive than 4 hours at home.
Actually, you know, we have, okay, so I could work at home, but I don't. I just rent some random apartment, you know, downtown, and I come every morning. So I like that structure. And plus, even if I'm upstairs working and downstairs somebody is talking something, whatever, they just came for tea or they're chatting with my husband, some neighbor said something, half of my brain goes there and I can't focus. I don't, especially in my type of work, when I review code sometimes, you know, and I'm thinking about architecture of things, especially about the app and the software development. So I just deeply concentrate, okay, this goes there, goes there, goes there. And then some lady, what you said? And then I lost it, you know, it's just like, again, I have to restart and just, I get more anxious about it and it just completely doesn't work, you know. And then they come to me and they say, just 1 minute I need, you know, but they don't know that 1 minute, and I can't be rude to my husband. He just came to tell me something for 1 minute. I cannot be rude and say, don't talk to me the whole day, you know. I have to answer, but once I answer, I lose my whole mindset, phone concentration, and the thoughts that I had about it. So I totally love having a separate space for the whole day. Yeah,
I have the same as Paulina. I really need to leave my apartment and go somewhere, and then I know I can start working, and when my work is done for the day, I can go home or go out with friends or whatever. And also, when you live alone and you don't have a partner, you also have a bunch of stuff to do, right? You need to get groceries, you need to clean your apartment, you don't have a boyfriend or husband or cleaning lady. So when I work at home, I'm sitting at my desk and I look around and I'm like, oh, this is a bit dusty. And then I start like cleaning all the dust. And I sit down again and I'm like, I think I could clean the floor too. And then I don't know, I get distracted so easily at home, but I also have the same problem as Augustas, that it just takes money on one side when you go to a co-working space, and just the commuting there and back just takes a lot of your time. So this is also a problem I'm facing.
yeah.
I wish I could dedicate the whole day like Paulina. Paulina, you have 2 children, right? And they go to kindergarten?
Yeah, so both of them go to daycare. It's a very nice place, and I am enjoying that, and they are enjoying. So actually, they have all kinds of activities there, whatever. So I feel like it's not just a standard school, you know, and that's why I don't feel guilty. You know, when I lived back in Canada and now I live in Turkey, back in Canada, there used to be the school where I just sit in one room the whole day, go out for half an hour, and mostly don't go out. Either it's too hot or too cold or raining. And then they're just in one room doing nothing with the same pencils. But this place, they create things. They do yoga one day. They do forest exploring another day. It's like a child-led education center. So I don't feel guilt because I feel like I selected as nice place as I could for them. And, you know, Tobias and you guys mentioned this very important factor between busy mind and relaxed mind. So, you know, when you're working, you have this busy mind and you go home, very often it takes time until you disconnect from work. You know, very often I come home, I sit the first hour with my husband, we are eating together, and my mind just is still there, you know, at work. And it takes me the whole hour to actually disconnect from that and relax my brain. So I don't do any meditation, but I strongly believe that that balance is important, not in just spending time with family, but actually with your mind spending the time there, so that you sort of rest from the pressure and anxiety and so on. Otherwise, it just gets build up. You have more and more anxiety. And if you don't have any time at all to unwind all that, even just sit quietly and maybe everybody else is talking, but you're in your own mind, but that helps you to rethink all of the things that happened to you during the day. Once you're done thinking about them, it's sort of like you are unwinding, and then there's nothing more to think, you know, and it's like, it's really nice to do that. So that's where I think the balance is most important, to have time for doing that.
I have another question for you guys. I struggle a lot with taking time for myself, and I don't mean like time with friends or family, but really sometimes I just enjoy having a couple hours of doing like nothing and just be with myself. How do you guys manage that with being in a relationship or even having kids that you take care of? Do you ever take a couple of minutes just to be by yourself?
I guess I'm the one who has kids also, and Augustas. You know, when you have kids, you don't have any more time to do too much things alone. But the whole time I have alone, I spend in my office. I'm alone here the whole day. Very often it's like 9 hours I'm here. And those 9 hours are mine, you know. I have time in between calls. I go drink soda or whatever, you know, and it's your time alone. And that's what, you know, you can choose to spend with the business or do something else or read a book or meet a friend. So I usually don't meet a friend, don't read a book. I just rather work, you know, so it's how you choose to spend that time that you have. But for Augustas, I guess it's totally different because he's always around family. So how do you do it?
Did you give them rules or something that if you're looking into the computer and talking to someone that they should not like start to talk to you or something?
No, it's usually I don't. If I probably have a room where I can close myself, and no, I don't forbid them to enter unless I tell that there is a, let's say, video call or video recording. Then depending on that, they might. I might
have
ask
a note on the door saying recording in progress?
No, they know. We
lamp.
know. My wife knows the calendar when it's wet. So just sometimes she's confused. Is it a call or a video recording? Because if it's a call, I allow them, you know, to be more free. When I started this virtual summits 3 years ago for Amazon sellers, and I did my first 20 interviews, I asked my family to leave 30 minutes before the interview. But now I'm like joking. I'm like setting up sometimes camera and microphone 3 minutes before the call, and my family is still around, and I say, okay, now be silent, kind of, in some way. So I'm more relaxed about this. But of course, it's distracting when you want to concentrate and do this deep work. Actually, I know that it's very distracting for me to be at home because I have access to the kitchen. And when I have too big pressure in the brain to think and it's too much, I just stand up and I go to the kitchen and search something to eat.
I have to say.
You do this anyways, no matter where you work.
So when recently we were staying in Dresden in Germany, and there for 1 month I was going to one co-working, and it was so nice. I just, you know, you have nothing in the kitchen. There is maybe a kitchen to make tea, but I have no access to food, so I just take maybe some dried fruits with me, and that's it for the half of the day. So I was really doing much more healthier lifestyle there, and in general, yeah.
sorry, I think this is also an important part, like eating right and maybe exercising. Do you guys do any sports, or how do you look so good?
Kitchen in my office exists because it's an apartment, but in that kitchen there is no food. Fridge is disconnected. So in the morning, every morning I just bring some fruit from home. Every morning I bring a few fruits and like, I don't know, something. So that's gonna be my breakfast once I get in here. And then I order food, which is, you know, Turkish homemade food, usually veggie dishes, very nice things they do. So all it is just he knocks on the door, comes in, I eat in 10 minutes, and it's all disposable dishes. That's it, I'm done. And until the evening, I don't eat, you know, and usually in the evening, I just either skip the dinner or barely eat anything at home once I get and sit down with my husband to chat. So that's how I basically manage that wish. You want to go to vacation, but there's nothing there. So, you know, you don't even go. So that's how it is.
Yeah. So basically in my case, it's a lot of challenge I am facing because our kid is at home, and yeah, maybe it's hard to imagine or understand when you haven't had a kid. Paulina has kids, and she has kids in the evenings, and it's still a lot of probably energy you have to invest into them. And we have a kid all the time, so I'm very, of course, grateful for my wife that she's like supporting what I do. So most of the time she's with the kid, but and to be honest, in the first years of when my son was born, I was a little bit disconnected because I was just working. Later, we started to get more balance, and I was blocking like 3 or 4 hours just for my son every day alone. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, people like you, Tobias, you say that I travel a lot, but it is not what I really enjoy. It just happens naturally. Maybe it's something, some beliefs make us move, but it is like this. We try to minimize that.
But
I never understood this. Like I was first when I met Augustas, he was like in Mexico, or he was in New York. And the next week or something, he was in Mexico, and then he went to Germany. And he never told me like what's his route like, where's he going, and why is he traveling. And always when I try to find out and ask him, he always said like, oh, it's just happening. So that's what I think I will never understand. Like you never know where he is. He's constantly traveling, but he keeps his journey very secret. So no one knows.
But how do you stay healthy when doing this? Because you don't really have time to cook fresh meals, or you don't really have time to exercise, I guess. So I know that Paulina goes swimming with her family. She told me in the interview I did with her. Or maybe hiking, just going out with the family. But are you also going to the gym or like jogging? How do you guys manage to stay fit? Because basically you're in front of the computer all day, all of us.
We just swim, basically. That's the only exercise I get. Plus, we live on it's like to get to our house, you have to walk top, very, very big hill, and then go down that same big hill. So it's like, if you go steps, it's 100 steps up and 100 steps down. And then from our house to go to the sea, it's another 100 steps down and then back up. So it's a lot of just walking all those steps. It's a lot of exercise in itself. And plus, we swim basically every evening that I am home with kids. That's the fastest time to easiest time to spend, because with kids is a lot of energy, and once they're in the water, I feel like I have less responsibility. I just have to watch them, not to, but other than that, it's really a nice type of exercise. What about you guys?
So the recommendation for Amazon sellers is move to a hill and get kids. Toby, what about you?
In my case, my wife usually, we cook, my wife usually cooks, so we never really eat processed food, and also we don't really eat meat, and there is no milk in the house, so maybe this makes me a little bit more healthier, but I don't do really sports regularly. Sometimes I get motivation and I do for 2 months, but because I'm alone, I lose this motivation. Let's say I install some app, I pay for the membership of this application, I do, and then we have to, let's say, travel. And then like, okay, it's a reason for me to stop doing it. It's just too much stress, because doing sport for me, it's another stress.
So that's a good point. So it seems that your traveling like sometimes drags you out of a routine that you might have developed otherwise.
Talking about traveling, there is a nice joke which happened with a friend Jordan from Stelix. Once I talked, I think sometime this year, and he says, "Oh, where are you?" I said, "I'm in Spain." He says, "So how long?" I said, "Yeah, for long term. We planned to stay here long term." And he says, "But you told me the same when 1 year ago you talked with me and you said you're in Mexico." So yeah.
And then when we later you came up you ended up in Germany somewhere. So
yes.
No one knows where you're going.
No. Yes.
So we talked about family a lot. Was your family supportive when you told them that I know Paulina worked previously on a normal job. I don't know about you, Augustas, but when you told them that you want to leave your job and you want to become self-employed and start your own business, were they supportive, or were they more like, why can't you do a normal thing like everyone else does?
Ooh, that's a painful topic. I was I was just out of university as a software developer, and I have gotten a contract for IBM to work for IBM full time, and that was usually the normal salary in Canada. It's about $30,000 to $40,000, and a year for a software developer when you are a beginner. And I got an offer for $71,000 a year to work, and then you can get up to 80, 90 a year, something like that. And that 71 in terms of my whole family was like, wow, it's amazing. And I was thinking, I will just sit in that cubicle all day long with all these old men around me who are usually software developers. And I was just like, I don't want to do this all my life. This is not who I am, you know. And I had started making a little bit of money on affiliate marketing. And I saw in the tracker that I made 15 cents or 16 cents on some affiliate commissions. And I told my family, okay, I made 16 cents here. I'm going to scale on that instead of taking the $71,000 offer. And they were completely not talking to me, upset about this, how you can change your life, ruin your life like that. And I just like, look at me now. I am very happy where I am, you know. I never know what's going to happen the next year, you know, but I am really happy today, and that's all I care about.
Toby, what about you? I know that you studied law before, right?
Yes. So when I got my high school degree, I thought like studying law would be the best thing for me. But then I got into e-commerce somehow. Well, actually, I started way earlier, already when I was 14 or something. I was starting to sell some parts as I was helping a like model airplane hobby shop. And then suddenly I always hated to go to school. And already then when I was 15 years old, I already thought like, okay, this is it. Now I found the method how I can like stop going to school now, because I can like already make my own money. So I'm out of this. But someone I got older, and I found out like, I want something more stable. But then at the same time, when I started studying, I again got into this field of selling stuff online. Most of the stuff that I already had, some old stuff on eBay, for example. And then I really saw this is a huge opportunity. And only like few weeks after starting it off, I already had like my first 5-figure income. And it really showed me that there really is an opportunity. So somehow it's the same way as it went for Paulina. I just discovered that there really is an actual opportunity how I can like earn something, and I don't have to like study anything. So that was really the point where it really like, from that point it got real. Before that, I sometimes thought about it, etc. But I think when you first do the first move, at least that's how it worked for me. From that point on, it got real, and then I thought, okay, I can, no matter what, I will just scale this. And so it was quite painful for my parents as well when I stopped studying law 2 years or something after that, because I was also already into it for 3 years. But I also have to say, since I had maybe as all other entrepreneurs experienced in their life, I had huge ups and downs. So I always wanted to have more security, more stability. And as I live in Germany, it still is very, very important here to have a proper degree, because otherwise no company will hire you. At least that was the experience for me when I had a like down phase and I wanted to work in a company for a time. They appreciate my experience, but they said they cannot hire me without having a degree. So Then I also like studied online marketing and did an MBA throughout the last years to just have it. But still, I never really looked back from that point on. And still, I like I put a lot of money on the side, so I have a security. But still, I know it can like be it can stop within a few days. So that's one thing that all entrepreneurs share, and that's what I know for sure. Also, even the entrepreneurs who have like huge incomes, they still know that it can be all over within a few days somehow. And still that I'm happy and I'm living the life that I love, and I'm earning enough money. Still, my parents say something like, "Great! Now that you have your degree, you can finally find a great 9-to-5 job in a big corporate or something." But yeah, very slowly they started to accept it, and like to accept it that this is the challenge that I want to take in my life. What about you, Augustas? I know that you have some.
In my case, I don't. I did some 9-to-5 jobs in the past, especially during the studies and after the studies. So during the studies in Lithuania, I had to support kind of my mother and sister. So I was studying at university and working for my uncle, and combining studies, maybe half day at university, half day at the work. At the end, I ended up 1 year like I was not really attending classes at university. I was just coming to the exams. And I even at work, I was doing some other things. At that time, I was a lot traveling by hitchhiking, and we had this hitchhiking club, where we organized trips and meetings. So I was like sometimes using my workspace to design some kind of card, so advertisings for events we're doing. And then later I was studying in Denmark at university, where I also worked as a research assistant for a few months. But I ended up anyway afterwards leaving and traveling. It was my passion. So for a few years I was just traveling, let's say 9 months, and then working in Denmark at university for 3 months. It was happening for a few years. Then I met my wife, and then we just wanted to discover the world. And I became kind of naturally an entrepreneur. I didn't know that, but it was like this digital nomad where I was programming websites. And it was easy to explain, when you meet some people, what do you do? And when I mention I finished computer science and I do websites, it's easy. Yeah, everyone can do it with these skills and travel the world. But it's really difficult to travel and work. And now when I do whatever I do with all this Amazon information and events, even my mom says, I don't understand what you're doing. Before it was easy for her to understand. Now I don't know how to explain, like, I don't sell on Amazon, and I don't know. Well, maybe it's easier this year. I organize conferences, but still, it's very difficult to. So basically, I was, I would say, entrepreneur all the time, probably in my mind.
Funny, like if Augustas tells you something, the difference is everything just seems to like happen naturally for him. So anyone else would have taught you like the reason why they started traveling, but for Augustas, it just happened. And so I think maybe one difference for you, Augustas, is that maybe like you just listen to your gut feeling more or something.
Yes, actually talking about gut feeling and today's topic, life-work balance. I had a big opportunity to make a conference in the United States next year, and a few days ago I decided I will not do, just because I felt it will be too much. Even on the US side, everything is prepared. There would be support and everything. But I felt it will be going over my limits in a lot of cases, in a lot of directions over the limits. So I decided not to do. And it was still I have pain in that I decided like this, but it was just because I wanted to follow gut feeling, but my logical mind says, no, you have to do it. And it's very hard to say no.
But you see that there are also many upsides when you follow your gut feeling and follow your emotions, right?
A lot of what?
a lot of upsides to it. I mean, there will be many like positive side effects that you don't see yet, but maybe like other positive things will happen if you say no to something and like follow your feeling.
Yes, of course. This is a different topic, all these spiritual things, and I do believe in this, but we are not taught in the schools how to tune in to your higher self and everything. Again, it's a different topic, but something higher is guiding you with all this gut feeling, and it's guiding towards the better outcome. And mind wants the information now, why it's better now to say no for this big opportunity, but the mind cannot receive the answer why it's better. And I started to tell myself, I said no to this opportunity, and maybe in 1 year there will be a 2 times big opportunity.
So how can we now summarize all this and give like 5 quick tips, maybe for Amazon sellers, but maybe for entrepreneurs in general, especially for people who are like starting out? 5 tips maybe how they can start to like handle the situation if maybe they do not get any support from the family, and also tips on what to think about if they have issues when their work-life balance is not as good as they wish to be.
Okay, tip number 1. Just take a leap of faith and don't think about it. And that's the hardest thing to do once you've been on a 9-to-5 already for a long time. You have stability, you have everything, and now you're gonna jump somewhere where nobody supports you and you don't even know what's at the end of that hole. Well, just jump it. And that's what all of us done, right? So all of us jumped in that hole, and then we discovered things, opportunities just came up to us. So it's just like, you know, that's the tip. Just do it, jump it, and take the leap of faith, you know, and after that, you know, good things will happen to you.
Tip number 2, Kristina.
Thanks. My tip to get your family and friends on board is really show them that you thought it through, that you don't just leave your job and just try something without having any plan at all, and you can't even explain the concept of doing Amazon FBA, for example, but really explain to them what you're doing, why you're doing it, what kind of benefits you could earn, and what kind of risks you're facing, because I think transparency is the key. When I started out with Sermondo, with Tobias, my family was at first not really happy about it, but when I explained to them what we're doing, what kind of opportunity this is, what kind of risks every business is facing, then they got pretty supportive of that. I think that's an important factor.
So then there comes tip number 3. Practice to believe in yourself. And this is a hard one, I think, because doubts will come up eventually, especially if you listen to the people around you. So it's very important to not only like maybe consume some motivating content quite often, but also like find some people who who went through the same thing, and then just find things that help you to really like stay motivated and believe in yourself, and even in rough times.
My tip number 4 would be, don't forget your family, and don't make mistake like I did in the first few 3-4 years. I really disconnected from my son because I was a workaholic and working a lot. And then it took me time to reconnect to him, and that he, you know, acknowledges me and feels that I'm authority. So this was a big mistake of mine, and I hope that other entrepreneurs make room for their family in their life as well.
I also agree with Augustas. My dad was also an entrepreneur, and also when I was little, he was the guy who was sitting with his laptop under the sun umbrella at the beach. And now I have little siblings. He has a new wife, and now he learned from his mistakes and is really investing himself in spending time with his family. So that's a good point. And I want to close with the 5th one. I would say exercise. Really do whatever. Buy rollerblades, go jogging, go hiking, go swimming. But try to also do something for your body, because I think you can't really think straight, and I don't think that you can exploit the full capacity of your mind if you neglect your body's needs. So just try to move from time to time away from your desk.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. How can people find you?
So you can find me at paulina@shopkeeper.com. Just email me and we'll be in touch.
You can send an email to support@sermondo.com or find me or Toby on LinkedIn or Facebook and just shoot a message. But email is the best way to reach us.
Exactly. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and don't forget to subscribe below to the YouTube channel and click the notification bell as well, because here we share different interviews with different Amazon experts. We do demos with Amazon seller software providers, and also we talk with event organizers which create conferences for Amazon sellers. Bye-bye.